Good morning. Wait, I didn't do it. Da-da-da-da-da. 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 Good morning. Good morning. Hello. I am Michelle Bryant, sitting in for my colleague Keith Paris, who is the host of Community Voice. As you know, um, Mr. Paris typically does Wednesday's Word. And if I remember that right, I know he mixes his stuff up a little bit. And I have a Wednesday word. That word is trifling. I will I will get into it later, but look for that word throughout the course of the show this morning. Let me say hello to my colleagues in the studio. What's happening, Byron? How you doing today, bruh?
What's going on? I'm great.
Omega Sci-Fi in the building.
Bro.
Dude, I just saw Ali Sadiq. Isn't cute? I took a picture with him at his concert. He had the hooks up in full display. So yeah, Ali Sadiq has joined the ranks of the Divine Nine. What's happening, Mr. Ryder? I see you got the locks hanging, swinging.
Well, figured I'd
I'm
get my,
tired of the phenomenon that bros all got long hair, sisters all got short hair. I'm tired.
It's time to reverse this thing.
You know, Byron finally cut his locks off. He cut his.
Yeah.
So now but you just out here with like your hair getting really long.
Yeah, it was really longer than this, but I cut it because I kept sleeping and pulling on it. So I got tired of it. But I figured I get my Samson on.
I mean, you doing it.
Yeah,
hey, good morning, Alex. Alex said, I'm still here, Michelle. I appreciate the support. Yeah. Good morning. Well, yeah, I just meant to tell you, I see you swagging and looking like
holler at the player when you see me in the streets.
No, there will be no hollering. Okay. There will be no hollering at players in the streets. That's not gonna happen.
Oh, okay.
Somebody said, okay, so look, it's gonna be some spillover, some spillage from my show into Keith's show. But remember, because he would be the first to say, you're listening to Community Voice with Keith Paris, aka Michelle Bryant. Somebody says, since Alderman Russell is listening, it's a big hot pothole on 20th Street on the east side of the church. Look. If you got time, call the city and report that pothole. Because, look, it just came up. Taxpayers paying for stranded boat removal question. Yeah. We literally just talking about that. So they'll be answering that. And the answer is, as I believe, that we are not. But please report that pothole. Because if somebody else come through and tear up their car, if there has been no report made to the city, they can't file a claim to have their tire fixed or their car fixed. So please, if you come across a really bad pothole, take a minute, call the city, and let them know that this pothole is out there. Because I just had a tire tear up, and this tire was like almost $500 for one tire to replace this tire. That's what happened on that on Keisha car.
No, I was.
And they said they believe it might have been a pothole.
Yeah, but the only problem, Shell, is.
But I ain't do it. I want to be clear. I ain't hit nothing.
The problem is when you call the city half the time and they don't answer the phone.
Well, at least if we're able, well, that's true. I mean, yeah.
No, they don't answer because I've called the city, especially about them potholes on Fond du Lac and going down Fond du Lac. It's like Crater City, and it's like they won't answer the phone, they won't return your phone calls.
Well, then call an alderperson, because that way it can officially be logged, at least with the alderperson's office, that call came in. But we got to do something, because last time I checked, I think they would cover up to like $600 in damage to your vehicle. I didn't think it was more than that. I think there was a limit about what they would cover. But like I said, when that bill hit for $400 and damn near $60 for that tire, you like, hey. And it cut the tire. It didn't. Yeah, it was like a cut from the jagged edge around the pothole, evidently. So I wanted to take a second. As I said, there will be some spillage from my show. So once the caller had called in and she talked about the Cash App thing, I went online and Googled to see if other people had said something similar to what the caller had said. I found a number of posts in which people said exactly what she had said, that they had noticed that Cash App in their situation had been asking them to fill out whether or not what the purpose of the money was for. Other folks were saying, like one guy said, it doesn't happen on my phone when I use my Cash App, but it happens when my mother is trying to use her Cash App. Jermaine had referenced the fact that basically the IRS is also paying attention, because if you do Cash App transactions for over $600 and you don't indicate, it's like a person to person, hey, this was for dinner last night, this was for the vacation, fees that you picked up for me on our cruise. If you don't say that, then the IRS can assume that the person who received that $600 has been paid for employment purposes. So I hired you to clean my gutters and I cashed out you $600. And so they will look at that so that they can charge that person who received that money taxes on that money. So there have been people that have reported that they've seen it. Other, like on our phones, Jermaine, we just tested ours this morning. It's not asking for it from us. But some people have definitely said, when I went out and looked online, that some people are saying exactly what this caller experienced. So my apology that I was not aware of your experience, and that you were told that that's untrue. It literally seems like it's impacting different people different way. It's not the policy, though, to the point that Jermaine was making. It's not the policy across the board. It's not happening to everybody. So I don't know why it's happening to select users, but so to an extent, you both were right in that it's not happening to everybody, but it certainly happened to her, and other people have said it has happened to them. So I wanted to take a minute to come back and just say that I did look that up. Somebody said that potholes can be reported online as well. I reported all potholes that were on my route to work every morning, and every pothole was repaired. The city was good about that. So you can report online. You don't have to wait to actually speak to a person. Thank you. I love that y'all are listening and giving us that information. All right. So a number of things I want to get to this morning in relationship to some subject matters, because my show went off the rails. So we're going to use the community voice to give voice to some of these stories that are hanging out there. I mentioned this story that broke on Smokey Robinson that has everybody chatting. If you have not heard, or if you've only heard bits and pieces, let me put you up on game. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 former housekeepers of Smokey Robinson allege in a lawsuit filed on yesterday that the Motown music star repeatedly sexually assaulted and raped them while they worked for him. The suit, filed in Los Angeles Superior Court, seeks at least $50 million in damages over the alleged assaults. Women said the assaults took place between 2007 and last year. Who is Smokey Robinson raping last year? Smokey Robinson can barely stand up on the stage. Who is this? Okay, I'm being messed up. I know, but they said the assaults took place between 2007 and 2024. Labor violations, including a hostile work environment, illegally long hours, and lack of pay, have also been leveled. Smokey Robinson is 85 years old. So you are telling me Smokey Robinson raped you last year when he was 80, 84? Okay. The four women each say Robinson would wait until he was alone with them in his LA house, then sexually assault and rape them over their objections. Quote, we believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist and must be stopped, the women's attorney John Harris said at a press conference yesterday. All said they eventually quit over the assaults, though in some cases it took several years. All said they feared coming forward over fears of retaliation, public shame, and possible effects on their immigration status. Having to tell their husbands and children of this despicable actions left them filled with shame and embarrassment. So throughout their dreadful experiences with Mr. Robinson, all four women remained silent. He said as low-wage earners, they all feared missing a payday and not being able to afford rent or to buy food for their families. All four women withheld their legal names, citing privacy concerns, and are identified as Jane Does in court documents. They did appear at the news conferences with their attorneys, but did not speak and covered their faces with masks. The lawsuit also names Smokey Robinson's wife, Frances Robinson, as a defendant, alleging that she enabled his behavior despite knowing about past sexual misconduct. It also blames her for the hostile work environment, saying she berated them with language that included ethnic slurs. One woman said she worked for the Robinsons from 2012 up until last year, and that she was assaulted at least 20 times in the span of that time. Another said she worked for them from 2014 until 2020. She said she was assaulted at least 23 times. Another said she worked for them for a year before quitting last year and was assaulted at least 7 times in that year. A fourth woman who said, how much sex is Smokey Robinson having at 80 in his 80s? The fourth woman who said she also acted as Frances Robinson's personal assistant, hairdresser, and cook, worked for them for 18 years before she resigned last year. She cited similar experiences to the other women, but did not say how often she was assaulted. The women, some of whom worked for the Robinsons at the same time as each other, also kept stories of the assaults from one another, but are now bonding over their experience. The suit seeks damages based on sexual battery, assault, false imprisonment, gender violence, and other allegations. $50 million is what they're asking for. And, Smokey Robinson, I don't know that I see his statement yet, but y'all, I'm not trying to be messed up. And somebody else just, hit me up on Facebook. It's like, not victim shaming. People will ask the question. Somebody said, now remember, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver, the housekeeper, was having intercourse with Arnold for years, and later her minor child came to light. Yeah, but that was consensual. Arnold wasn't raping the housekeeper. She never said she was being raped by him. She she had a love child. She never said. But like, do y'all hear the number of assaults? 23, 20. And again, this is over the course of years, except for one who said she got assaulted 7 times in 1 year. But and I don't know how to say this without it sounding awful. Smokey Robinson physically being, and you don't always have to use physical force. See, I'm battling with myself as I try to have this discussion. You don't have to always be physically abusive. Like the video that they showed of Puffy, kicking the girl and dragging her in the hallway. You can use money and power. Some of them talked about missing paychecks and, my immigration status. So I can't say none of this happened, that it didn't happen. I'm just saying I have a hard time with some of it for no other reason than this man's age. Like, seriously. Up until last year, at 84. So we'll see how it all plays out. I haven't looked yet for what Smokey's response is. I'm sure he's going to deny it. But it is crazy. And you think about like all of the folks that this man has encountered over the years. So if you are a person that would behave in this way, I'm wondering if now we'll hear claims from people from outside of the domestic service type of situation, other women coming forward, because once that box is open, then all kind of folks gonna pop out. We got a phone call. Let's go to the line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
I was watching that last night about Smokey Robinson, and it's very ironic that he get ready to go on tour, just dropped a new album, and so many black artists that's gone down for allegations, and first they are allegations, but how you gonna they really don't want you to face your accuser on some of these things. Just like Jay-Z, when the young lady came out, when he found out who it was, her dad said, "I don't recall picking her up at no mansion with no place with her round driveway," and he said that's not true. We have to really, we look at these things, and we look at our people of our color, black people, these black artists that's being rolled on. I mean, unbelievable. It's unbelievable. 85 years old. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, so this lady was talking about, being forced into, she said I would protest, and they go into a lot of detail, because that's the other thing, because you gotta paint this crazy picture.
85 years
But
old.
85 years old is what is just giving me crazy pause. And this, like I said, this is a slight dude. Man, you could push Smokey Robinson down.
You can see he kind of frail, but he's still out here doing his thing. But you can see he ain't that Smokey that used to be up there. But 85 years old. Come on, sister.
Yeah,
this is. I mean, when do it quit?
All right, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. I mean, and look, let me, as we learn from other conversations, let me not say never. Let me not say what can't happen, because again, it doesn't have to be physically overpowering somebody. It could be, I don't know, you illegal, or your immigration status is tenuous. I could get you put out the country. I don't know, but I'm just saying it's gonna be interesting now to see what happens. But the amount of times, it's like Smokey Robinson must be a sexual maniac, because you got all these women 23, 20 times, 7 times in 1 year. Like, well, damn, when did you have time to do anything else? Because it seemed like all you was doing was freaking all day. So
Gang banging.
If you don't shut up, let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Shalom, family.
Hey, bro, what's happening?
Hey,
what you know about Smokey, man?
It's the human nature. My comment is this: whether it's Smokey or Bill Cosby or Diddy or Weinstein or any one of the number of people, male, female, wherever they are, people are believing a lie, thinking they're entitled and privileged to be able to do things and get away with it. Where we see, I'm telling you, Trump is the culmination of all of this stuff. So when we think about the way, the degradation of our system that allows for people to violate someone else or violate the law, and then think, well, I'm in a position of privilege or authority, or, I'm entitled. So who gonna hold me accountable? Because all of y'all doing some of it, and like they said, all of them got some skeletons, right? So once you open the doors, you just said it. All kind of skeletons start flying out. This is the same thing with Epstein. All them people that are in that line, that are trying to hide now. This stuff should not shock us because these people, this is the life that when they get into them rooms and when things start happening, this is part of it. And they believe the lie is that I can abuse somebody else and ain't nobody gonna believe them. And this is all connected to the stuff y'all talking about earlier. Whether it's the trash being allowed to be thrown in our community and nobody gonna say nothing to me about it, or the burned out house on my block, ain't nobody gonna say nothing to the owner of the house about it because the city knows that they are just as responsible the very first time they let a old homeowner leave a house in that condition. Years ago, decades ago. It's a culmination of all of this stuff coming together. So let's not be surprised. I mean, you talking about 85 years. When I saw that, I was shocked. But then as we talked about it now, as I hear y'all talking about it, particularly I mean, the logic that you bring to this stuff. And then it helps us all to start logically thinking, what is happening? This is the depravity of our system, our humanity. This man thought he was entitled to go in there and do what he did, no matter how much of it, because there's a modicum of truth in all of it. We know that.
Right.
And sometimes people will make up a lie for defense. So maybe some of these women, and so you have to ask yourself, this woman said she was there 7 times. Why did you go back after the first time? Were you forced? So there's a point where we have to recognize is that, what he promised you something, and then you thought, okay, the first time maybe he ain't gonna do it again. Then we have to recognize all of this stuff is happening, but it still don't give him license to do what he did. That's the problem. Our system is afraid to hold people accountable, and that's what we got to get over. Because this man has, and we see a compilation of, as he said, back to where it was good. He saw his father get away with it, his grandfather get away with it. We live in a system now that don't want to hold white folks accountable for what they did. And we got black folks and other minorities thinking, I can come here and do the same thing. And as they get away with it, the system continues to degrade. And so we going downhill. Even though we're becoming more technologically advanced and robots and all, we are becoming depraved as a race of people. This is what's happening to us.
So I'm up against the break, but let me thank you, bro. I appreciate it. I'm gonna just say this, the same way I'm trying to walk through what's possible on the women's side. We also got to remember that people are innocent until proven guilty, and so we can't just do the runaway and assume that Smokey did everything that these women said. I'm like, Craig, it usually is her story, his story, and then there's the truth. And usually there can be, what did he say, a modicum of truth in all that we hear. But, on first glance, 85, it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. Because the one woman said, I worked for him in 2024. He sexually assaulted me 7 times in 2024. It sounds crazy. But I just want people to think about there are other ways by which to force people than being physically overpowered, because that's what most of us go to when we think about rape and assault. I got to take a break. I'm up against the clock, but this is Michelle Bryant sitting in for my colleague Keith Paris on his show, Community Voice. I'll be right back, y'all. All right. Welcome back to the Community Voice. This is Michelle Bryant sitting in for my colleague Keith Paris. Taking a minute to talk about allegations that surfaced on yesterday. A lawsuit has been filed against none other than Smokey Robinson, Motown icon. The claims are sexual assault, false imprisonment, harassment, employment violations, you name it. He has had allegations made against him by 4 women who all seem to be of Hispanic or Latino descent. Some have said that they didn't come forward because they were worried about their immigration status. People have talked about abuse that has spanned, in some cases, 18 years. According to them, all of these women served in domestic capacities and felt like, according to them, that they, you know, they worried about their jobs. They worried about being able to feed their families. Some of them have said they had husbands. And, so again, Smokey will have his day in court or in settlement, whichever one happens. But it will be interesting. Somebody said no jail time, just money. It'll be interesting to see what comes of this. Got callers on the line. Let's get them in. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, you said you couldn't see Smokey getting up there on stage, getting up on stage, but he sure could get up in that bedroom, couldn't he? Ain't that something?
Again, we don't know that it's true.
Well, check this out. You know what? First of all, I believe that he probably did have sex with them women with gifts and monetarily gifts. Them girls were serving that man for money. Okay, let's be realistic. Now, he wasn't giving them the money that they wanted, and now we got to check their immigration status, okay? These girls are probably doing anything they can so they don't be deported. Now listen to this here. You have to be kind of crazy not to want to go back home with that kind of money, or the money they've been sending back to Mexico or wherever, Cuba. I know somebody got a couple Cuban maids, believe it or not. So our money. Now, Donald Trump actually give away $1,000 if they self-deport. Now, $1,000 in Mexico would be $20,000 in Mexico. Our $1,000 would be about $20,000 in Mexico. What is our dollars worth? 20 of their dollars. One of our dollars is worth 20 of their dollars. So if you could go back to Mexico with 100 grand, you're like a multi-millionaire over there. Same with Africa, any of them places. You go back with $100. Even if you go back to Russia, you go back to any of them places, our money, you can go back to your country and live really wealthy if you invest the money properly. So them girls are sending money back. What they realize is that we can get fat. We can get fat off of this rat, get all the cheese we can now. And the man was giving monetarily gifts, and his wife probably was doing that to make him happy. 80-some years old. If you look at David, when David was an old man, they say the king was feeble in his old age. They brought a damsel to dance before him, hoping that would cheer the young king up. So his wife probably, volunteered to bring that man. And by the way, 85 years old, a man can still do his thing. At 85, he can still make babies. And he guess what? Some guys don't need that old pill to get it up and have their way with one of these women, whether they old or young women. So, I wouldn't throw him away just because he's 85. 85, he can still make things happen, make real miracles. And if he can,
really, he can make real miracles.
Real miracles. And guess what? If he can't, he can still eat up some stuff and have a lot of fun that day. But with that, I'm gonna get on off the phone. But them ladies took money. Don't think dude throw them down, raped them, and held them and bush jumped out of a tree when they was in the basement and grabbed them and strangled them. No. They took gifts. They was working for the writer of Motown. How lucky can you get? And now the immigration status is coming back to haunt him. Even if he would have had some black girls and now American white girls, it's an opportunity right now, to if I had a broad that was over there, I said, well, baby, we can get paid like this.
Bye, Beach.
I would have to think of where I get some of that Motown money, man.
Bye, Beach. Thank you. Always the color commentary. Always. But Meech, one thing I will say, he mentioned Donald Trump offering individuals $1,000 to self-deport. And I did have some people reach out to me and say, Michelle, what what is that $1,000 worth in Mexico? $100 in Mexico is worth about $1,900 in terms of U.S. money. So if you multiply that by 10, um, that is roughly $20,000, a little bit shy of 20 grand. That just think about that. 1,000 US dollars is worth about $20,000 in Mexico. That's crazy. So yeah, somebody had texted me and they wanted to know, because they was like, is Meech right? Would they be a millionaire? Would they? No, but you'll be up about almost the equivalent of 20 grand if it was American money. So I had heard that one person has taken Trump up on that offer. There may be others, but yeah, that's the answer. It's worth about 20,000. I got another caller. Let's get them in. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good evening. First thing I want to say with this Smokey Robinson, I'm not going to condemn him because everybody is guilty till proven innocent. But just from me being, nobody can make me open up 7 times, okay? And saying, especially when I'm a grown adult, you know. So sometimes people will throw themselves at somebody, and when they get that rain check and that voucher, then they want to call wolf. Well, what's so funny about the orangefish goldman, and you know about goldfish, the more you feed, the more they eat, who are not healthy. You see anybody condemning him? And he knowingly took it. And them 2 fingers will never be right after that night. And they're telling you how you need to be a woman. So I say this in reference to Smokey Robinson. If there's no facts, there's no accusations. And if there's no accusations, there's no facts. Some people need to take a rejection. And even when you're 85 years old, you got a right to tell somebody no. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Appreciate the call. Yeah. So it's a lot to take in and digest on that. We'll see how it goes. If you say gang banging one more time, uh, what you got? Oh, because I see that's Young Smokey.
You know, I'm mailing with you.
Oh yeah, that's
Gang banging. Gang banging.
seriously. And for people don't know that that's actually Smokey Robinson's song.
And it was the worst song he ever made.
Play it.
Killing your brother, killing in waves, filling up graves, gang banging, gang banging, gang banging. Oh yeah.
Wait.
You know that bullets are flying, babies are dying, a child at play got in the way, innocent children, somebody killed them, gang banging, gang banging, gang banging, gang banging.
Okay. So let me just say this because I understood it. This was actually done.
What was it, 90s?
2004. Yeah, it's done 20 years, 21 years ago.
It shouldn't have been made at all.
And I mean, so these are the lyrics: wasting your time, drinking that wine, smoking that smoke, doing that coke, dealing that dope, giving up hope, gang banging, gang banging, gang banging. Stay. Okay, Byron, I'm gonna get to you in a minute. Staying out late, preaching that hate, defying your mother, killing your brother, killing in waves, filling up graves, gang banging, gang banging, gang banging. Yes, you know that bullets are flying, babies are dying, a child at play got in the way, innocent children, somebody killed them, gang banging, gang banging. And it ends with, I heard that somebody said God is dead, leaving you free to continue to be you. But I guarantee you, God can see you. I guarantee you, God can see you. Gang banging, gang banging. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Put those weapons on the shelf. Use your life for something else positive. You know that gang banging ain't no way to live. And that's it. I understood because in that 2004, we at the height of senseless crime. Um, and there was actually a case that was the precipice that sent him and whoever wrote this to, to the studio to pen this. So I got it, but it's hard to have, I mean, like, it was almost like it was an attempt to do a mercy
Mm-hmm.
Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
But the way it was done, it didn't come off like that.
No.
Because the lyrics, while not profound lyrics, the lyrics had a message, but it just didn't come off. It didn't come off right.
That sound like
and I'm mad that you've been humming it all morning.
Yeah,
you say it all the time.
Smoking that game.
And Byron, why was you laughing?
That song just hilarious.
Yeah, what song?
Yeah, I mean, Smokey is not the person to deliver.
I think that song was written and produced by, and I'm gonna say this, written and produced by a white person.
You think?
Yeah, because it didn't have the black street element, so there was almost
Michael
like a commercial.
Stokes was the producer. I'm trying to see who wrote it.
Yeah, that kind of felt like a real cheesy PBS. You know what I mean?
You think so? Because Smokey actually was a great songwriter.
I understand that.
So I don't know. Are we sure he didn't write it? Are we sure he didn't write it?
The whole music put behind it.
I think Smokey Robinson wrote it.
Yeah, he shouldn't
have. I think excuse me, from what I can see, I think he wrote it. No, okay, we got callers. Let's go to the phone line. Somebody said, I love that song. Play it again.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Oh, yeah, this is Seattle Walker. Hey, check it out. That's all Hollywood, but when you some of the famous stars coming to Hollywood, they allow that Hollywood allow that stuff going on anyway. So then we stuff like spoke about P. Diddy, there's a lot of all the stuff that Michael Jackson plans. No, let's go on. When you build up, they take your person right. Because Smoke Russell do a lot of songs for most times. And he had the age down where he might play any day now. And they got this vibe, but they do the all black entertainment. So that's my comment for that.
All right. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Got another caller. Let's get them in. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good
morning. We got a bad wait. We got a bad connection. Are you on speaker?
No.
No. Okay, try it again. Wait, babe. We got a bad connection. We're not gonna be able to take the call. Try us back if you're in a different area or a different space in the house.
Yeah, that sounds like
whoever keep texting me about I love that song, play it again. We not playing that song again.
I'm gonna play parts of it.
Gang banging. What you thinking now? What you doing? Just how many lives?
Oh my God.
Gang banging.
Sound like somebody started tickling his feet.
Somebody said, "Thank you, Ryan."
Sound like somebody started tickling his feet. You got the goblin thing.
Look, I love, and look, I don't know. Maybe they love the song for real. We all got different musical tastes. I'll just leave it there. All right, let me do this if I can. Michelle, look, somebody said, are you going to mention trifling? well, yes. I was coming. So let's just say first use of Wednesday's word, trifling. If in fact Smokey Robinson did do what he was alleged to have done, trifling. because to the point that Craig made, to take advantage of people because they are in vulnerable situations, trifling. To to have folks lose their humanity to satisfy some need or want or desire you may have, trifling. Just trifling. So that was one thing that came to mind immediately on that. Um, I'll work it in with a couple of other stories. One of which is the meeting that took place yesterday. Uh, was it yesterday or day before now? I think day before. But Donald Trump and the Canadian Prime Minister. And while it was not the blow up that uh, President Zelensky from Ukraine experienced, it was incredibly offensive and trifling. The way Donald Trump spoke to this prime minister, Mark Carney, who did everything he could to, and he actually used the word to be respectful. He actually used that to preface his pushback on Trump talking about Canada being the 51st state and that, the United States basically, Canada is like some welfare state. America is subsidizing Canada by $200 billion a year. A complete lie. We are not. Giving them free military protection and many other things is what Trump said. And, Prime Minister Carney makes the point about 50% of a car's makeup that we have in Canada is derived of American parts to demonstrate that trade partnership between the US and Canada. And Donald Trump sits there when this man offers that up. Do we have the clip? Play the clip.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor to have Prime Minister Mark Carney with us. As you know, just a few days ago, he won a very big election in Canada. And I think I was probably the greatest thing that happened to him, but I can't take full credit. His party was losing by a lot, and he ended up winning. So I really want to congratulate him. It was probably one of the greatest comebacks in the history of politics, maybe even greater than mine. But I want to just congratulate you. That was a great election, actually. We were watching it with interest, and I think Canada chose a very talented person, a very good person, because we spoke before the election quite a few times. And it's an honor to have you at the White House and the Oval Office. And you see the new and improved Oval Office as it becomes more and more beautiful with love. We handle it with great love and 24 karat gold. That always helps, too. But it's No.
Why not?
Just the way it is.
What's your first date?
Yeah.
If Canadians don't want it, would you respect that?
Sure, I would. But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time. They have to make that decision. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may. Well, if respectfully, Canadians' view on this is not going to change on the 51st day. Secondly, we are the largest client of the United States in the totality of all the goods. So we are the largest client of the United States. We have a tremendous auto sector between the two of us, and the changes that made have been helpful. 50% of a car that comes from Canada is American. That's not like anywhere else in the world. And to your question about is there one thing? No, this is a bigger discussion. There are much bigger forces involved. And this will take some time and some discussions. And that's why we're here, to have those discussions. And that is represented by who's sitting around the table.
See, the conflict is, and this is very friendly. We're not, this is not going to be like, we had another little blow up with somebody else. That was a much different, this is a very friendly conversation, but we want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada. And we put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things because we want to be able to do it ourselves. And we, because of, past thinking of people, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us. And there's no reason for us to be subsidizing Canada. Canada's a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically. I assume they can. I will tell you that Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said, that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said, that's a strange answer, but I understand his answer.
Is there anything he could say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No.
Wednesday's word of the day. America was trifling for electing Donald Trump to be president of the United States. This is the most ignorant individual I have ever seen in my lifetime in this position. America was trifling because it's not like we didn't know who this dude was. Just the level of disrespect, the arrogance. We don't need your cars. We don't want your aluminum. We're going to make our own steel. We're going to take care of ourselves. And I assume you can take care of yourself. Who talks to someone like that is their equivalent in their country? But why would you talk to anybody in that way? Because there's a way to frame that we need to make sure that we can be self-sustaining to the extent possible. We cannot produce everything in America that Americans want and need and would prefer to have. We can't. We can't. Everything from food and produce to technology to clothes. China has a commercial out right now that makes fun of American workers and shows big fat white guy sitting at a sewing machine trying to sew some clothes. It is a ridiculous parody on what they believe is Americans' ability to do some of the work that's being done in China right now. The prime minister's face told it all. And Trump strategically manhandled him in a way that he got to say all that garbage at the end and then shut the press conference down. But I'm going to tell y'all, until somebody handled this dude the way he handled him, because see, people are trying, they're doing their best because they understand what's at stake for their country. So you can't pop off, like Ukraine, Zelensky had to just take all kind of nonsense because their country is in a vulnerable situation right now. They need American assistance right now. Canada acknowledges that America is a huge trade partner, but Donald Trump acts like that they're not our second biggest trade partner behind China in what we export to Canada. So if it's me and I'm the president, like one of the things that I've done on political campaigns in the Senate office is I advise. Strategically and politically, I advise. There is no way in the world I would have ever advised the Prime Minister of Canada to sit in a press conference with Donald Trump. Happy to come, happy to meet, happy to talk behind closed doors. You won't get the opportunity to play me, even though it wasn't the bombastic mess that went on with Vladimir Zelensky. You will not get the opportunity to show your behind with me. You got to understand what the tactics are. And Trump, in all of his white man arrogance, sat up there and handled this man crazy. You are so stupid. You take credit. You take credit for his election, not understanding it was a referendum on people in Canada hating you, idiot. You don't understand. Yeah, basically, you won in part because of me, because people don't like you. And this guy was saying, we're going to have to defend ourselves against America. We're going to have to position ourselves not to be dependent on that relationship to the extent possible. It's trifling that this is who we would put out for the world to be the leader of this country. And that we are willing to burn through relationships of allies and have more people hate us than have ever hated us before. I'm talking about friends. We already had naysayers, detractors, haters, but now you got allies who are looking at us sideways. And while people say, we don't like your president, but we still cool with America, they lying. Because what they understand is it was America who made this dude the president. And you made him the president when you knew what he was. So it's one of those things where people like, oh, I'll forgive you, but I ain't gonna never forget what you did, the hand that you showed. Trifling. The way this man handles foreign policy, the idea that you would put this extreme, racist, small, little, pathetic man in Stephen Miller as national security advisor, trifling. All of these people in these roles who are ill qualified to have them, this is crazy. The level of cringe, listening to him talk to the Prime Minister of Canada, it was more than I could stand. That you are so callous, and he takes joy in demeaning people and reducing them to size. And you do that because you're a small little person. Strong people that are confident in who they are, they don't beat up on weaker people. They don't manhandle, demean, belittle. They don't do that to people. When you confident in who you are, I'm not hating on the next sister that walked by. Bad outfit, girl, wear that, do that. You look cool, bruh. Do that because I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. And if it's a situation in which I definitely know I'm bigger, better, stronger, faster, I'm definitely not picking on people. We have shown the world that we can be trifling. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Yes, sorry for double dip. And I think what we also have to understand, his cognitive memory is spiraling down the toilet. Now, we all know Harlem is totally different from Harvard University. We also know we ain't seen $1.98 gas nowhere. And we also know tariffs is going to fall on the citizens of the United States while they're firing them from the jobs. But my deepest thing that I want to say deep down in my heart with all the chaos, and you have these religious people claiming they're all about Christ. Since they want to be Christian nationalists, I feel personally all religions, all books dealing with all religions should be burned. Because if you are saying you're about hate, now people can respect you because you was raised to hate. It's in your bloodline. You can't hide behind the synagogue, the Christian church, the Baptist church. I say burn all of them because we have too many hypocrites, crusaders, or whoever that's sitting here standing with hate. But here's the catch, Michelle. When it's time to be maggot food and them feet get cold, that religion and that hate is not going to help nobody when you're fighting for your life. All right? So I think with everything that's being going on, there should be a national burning of all religious books. And when we have the bear out the woods, the sea monster come, let's see where that hate comes and see what that hate do for you when you are prepared to be maggot food and your feet gonna get cold. And trust me, nobody out them books is coming. None of them nationalist Christians gonna save themselves because everybody gonna be fighting together. So I say burn all religious books, from the Christians to the Jews, all of them, because we have too much chaos. And now they can stand there and stand in the public eye and say, I hate because I was raised to hate, and nobody can hide behind no book. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
All right. Bye. Thank you. Let me say this, so first, I think that, and I say this as somebody who publicly has said 100,000 times, I struggle with religion in terms of the Bible and what has been presented as gospel and who wrote the book and the way it's been applied. I do. There's no secret there. I always talk about what did Black folks practice before they got introduced to Christianity. I talk about that all the time. We've had discussions on this show, or on my show, I should say, and even with Keith, about the slave Bible that was written in a way that it removed any, or let's just say it was written in a way that it only put in content that supported verbiage that talked about obeying your master and slaves being obedient kind of, concept. So even in that framework, from the things I've said, I still don't believe in burning the Bible. I don't believe in burning religious doctrine for different groups that believe what they believe. Because the one thing that we have seen is that people will take these documents and do with it what they want. Their behavior is not necessarily reflective of the doctrine. In the doctrine, I don't think it tells anybody to hate anybody. I don't think it tells anybody to mistreat people for the color of their skin or, for their different views. Now, there's some stuff where you can say, hey, in the Bible, it basically talks about, things that today we don't think should be, illegal, or you should be cast out for, times have changed. You got to think about the time in which these doctrines were written. And so we've evolved from that thinking. We're different today. But for the most part, these religious doctrines don't espouse the behavior that we see a lot of people exhibiting today. So it's not the book that's the problem. It's the people misinterpreting or using the book to shield their own BS. So that's like saying, let's get rid of Now I Know Why Cage Birds Sing. Well, why is that book offensive that you got people that want to remove it from bookshelves? Because it has historical references in there. Because it talks about issues that make people uncomfortable. So I'm not a book banner. I'm not a book burner. I believe in free thought, and I believe you are entitled to think what you want to, as long as what you think does not infringe upon my rights, my happiness, my peace, my safety. That was the thing that made America unique from a lot of other places in the world, is that freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom not to be religious, freedom of thought. Because I struggle, I don't want to take nobody else's religion from them. I don't need you to believe what I believe. I don't need to destroy your house. I don't need to destroy your temple, your synagogue, your church. I don't need to do that. And I can still challenge, question, believe differently. That's the thing that's getting us in trouble. And that's what's happening now to Black history. And again, we got to be careful, because what we're saying due to one group, the same thing is being done to us right now. People who want to get rid of our history because they don't agree with it, don't understand it, don't like it, just hate us because they hate us. Companies now running away from anything that says Black. Schools being bullied into, there were schools that had graduation ceremonies in which, if you was a first-time generation graduate, a first generation graduate, there were special ceremonies that were held, because to break that cycle of no one in your family having a college diploma, that's seen now as diversity. And schools canceled those celebrations. Black collegiates who were at some of these predominantly white Ivy League schools, who got through against the odds, they'd have, in addition to the main graduation ceremony, they'd have other campus-sponsored events that highlighted that. All those things have been canceled now. So when we talk about canceling people, we got to be real conscientious of the fact that folks can cancel us. I don't do to people what I don't want done to me. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Lord have mercy, Jesus.
What's happening, JT? How you doing today?
I'm doing okay, young lady. How about yourself?
I'm hanging.
You've been doing that. That's for real. That's the for real tip. And Miss Michelle Bryant.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being yourself and taking on double duty.
It's a pleasure.
Excuse me for being a veteran, but anyway, I want to say thank you for taking on double duty, and good morning to Mr. Jermaine Right Out.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Jay Tizzle.
You do it triple time. Ain't mad at you. Yeah. You do it triple time. And you know. Yeah. And the new person, I would say good morning to the new person. What's his name again?
Byron.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay, young man. You doing okay yourself?
Yeah, I'm great.
Hey, Byron, keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. What can I say? And Michelle.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say, I just want to put it in a nutshell, if I may. Donald Trump is a symbol. you have this GOP party, what I used to refer to back in the days as the Nazi / Tika Klan Party Republicans that got control of our country right now, and everybody else is looking at us funny and mad at us and stuff. On the for real tip, Michelle, thank you for keeping it real.
All right, thank you, JT.
And
I
Michelle,
appreciate you. Yes, sir.
And yes, just one more thing. Just a positive note. Just a positive note, if I may. Last Sunday in the Milwaukee Journal, in the Ideal Lab section of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, I saw an article by Mr. James E. Causey that works for Milwaukee Journal Sentinel.
Mm-hmm.
He had an Ideals Lab on Sunday. They was talking about something I can identify with because let me just put it this way before I go there. One of your co-workers by the name of Party Rob Hardy that come on later on. He do he do Jamaican music and West Indian music and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Party Rob Hardy.
Right.
Well, back in the days, he invited me to go somewhere on Browndale Road to meet up with black men that sit down and talk. So in the Ideas Lab, what Mr. James E. Causey did, as your man, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes,
I'll give you the background. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was wonderful, man, because Michelle, what James E. Causey, as a Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, was talking about with this article was black men on, let me just put it this way quickly. I want to hold you up too long. But they had a place at a restaurant on Browndale Road, right? It was called the Country Table, the Family Table Restaurant. I'm sorry, the Family Table Restaurant off of 6598 West Browndale Road. Okay, they started years ago. They started with 6 men, and now it's up to 70. And what they do, they talk about the conversations about wisdom and fellowship, talk about the issues, all of that. And the ages now it is for men, Michelle. So get mad at me, okay? It is for men, but that was wonderful because Ray James E. Causey wrote up in this article, and he was just saying the gentleman. Let me just see, the Reverend Richard Lewis, and meet there Major Macklin, Mr. Richard McLean. You know, they were one of the few that started that a long time ago. So when Patty Rob Hardy told me about that years ago, I didn't pay too much attention. But when James Causey wrote it up in the article, he just told me how vital it was for black men to get together from the ages of, I would say, 77 or maybe younger. And they started with 6 black men meeting there. I think it's like every Friday, second Friday of the month that they meet there. Right. I haven't been there, but anyway, Michelle, make a long story short, I thought it was wonderful because for them to go from 6 to 70, they meet up at this restaurant, and it's for breakfast. It's just for breakfast. It's called a breakfast club. Excuse me, right, for being behind. Okay. So anyway, I just want to thank Mr. James E. Causey, the write for the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, for bringing this out. I want to thank Mr. Party Rob Hardy, one of your co-workers that come on with the Jamaican music and West Indian music and stuff like that, let me know about it. And shame on me for not taking advantage of it. But Michelle, you know, starting from 6 and going to 70, and let's be there for breakfast from, I would say, 11 o'clock a.m. No, I'm sorry, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You know, 65th and Browndale Road. And they meet there, and they sit down and they talk, and we discuss, kind of like being in a barber shop, I guess.
Yep, no, but I'm familiar with it. A lot of brothers I know attend, you know, people that run for office, they actually you know, try to secure an opportunity to go over and meet, you know, this group of folks that dine. And yes, while it is predominantly men, you know, there are women that do attend. Sometimes spouses come, but yes, sir, I'm definitely familiar with the group. And Mac Weddle and a lot of the brothers that's around the table have been folks that have worked in the community for years, and they are continuing that in a different way in terms of engaging people. So thank you for flagging it. I'll get the exact meeting time for folks that want to peep in, check it out, join the conversations, just have breakfast, sit back and listen to what's going on. But it is something to see and happening over at Family Table in Brown Deer. So thank you, JT. I appreciate that.
And again, Michelle, it is from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. While I'm reading in the newspaper.
Yep, I got it.
Okay, but thank you, Michelle, for letting me flag that. I just want to put a little positive note on what you're saying this evening. Thank you so very much, dear, for being diligent and being strong. Hey, Queen sister.
Yes, sir.
Keep on doing it.
Thank you, JT. I appreciate it.
And Jermaine.
Yes, sir.
Keep on doing it.
Yes, sir. I sure will.
All right. Y'all take care now. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks for hanging on too, JT. I appreciate that. Got another caller. Let's get them in. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, excuse me. I had to double back. You said some profound things about the book Bryant. You said that would be very unnecessary. That would be actually a lot of hate. But you know something? You were saying that the gentleman, how could he have the audacity of, all of the brute and the coldness to even suggest some of the things? He's saying you could never do that, and it would single out us or me and you as a bully for doing that. But that's as a single, and that's individually. When it comes down to corporately, or together, when you come in with a conglomerate of people and ideas in business, you can't have the ideal of what you think.
You don't talk to people like that. I don't care what role you have, what arena you are in. You don't talk to people.
You could never do that. If you do that, you wind up like the black man with nothing, because we done gave it all away. And that very Bible that boy was talking about, that's the portion of the Bible.
People like that.
Hold on, listen. That Bible, that's the portion that has been pushed on people, black people, and that's the part right there why we have given away everything, because that's all the part we need.
Hey, bro.
That's all the part. That's all the part they need.
What are you saying? That Donald Trump needs to behave like a jackass in order to get something done? That's what you're saying?
When you're in a conglomerate surrounding, you cannot do it as an individual. I get what you're saying. Me and you shouldn't do that as an individual. But when you get ready to do business, you got to do business, because if you don't.
And doing business, so you're saying you need to act like a boorish bully buffoon that insults the people you're doing business with. That's how you need to behave?
Is it buffoonery, or is it sternness and trying to get something done?
When you talk about somebody else's country being nothing more than potentially a state for your country, like
no,
big boy,
I'm glad you brought that up.
Take them over.
I'm glad you brought that up. Listen to this here. If Canada would have said okay, and the Republicans wouldn't have went for that, because if they even said yes, the Republican Party would never ever win another.
Well, why
contest.
Are you saying it? Why are you saying it?
Because
why did Trump feel the need to say it?
Because he didn't know what he's talking about. Because if they did jump on that, the Democrats will win forever from now on, because that's a liberal country. You get up there around Portland and Seattle, and you get to go into Canada, they are liberal for real.
But
you would never.
Okay, but aside from the politics.
No, that's where we're at, though. We're talking politics. The Republicans would never win another race if Canada even thought about it.
First of all, if they're going to keep governing the way that they do, they should never win another race. Because
we're addressing what you said,
they currently espouse. But I'm saying that's not my country. Why would I be sitting back talking about taking something that's not mine?
That's drag. That's not real. You know that's not real.
So why say it?
Way too much of a player to even know.
Why say it? Why say it?
Because it gives you leverage when you're around the table.
No leverage.
So you got to get this. What you got to get?
You sound like a fool, and you make yourself and this country look like a fool. There's no leverage.
Well,
nobody believes that Canada is going to become a 51st state.
We know that that's not true.
To refer to Justin Trudeau back in the day as the governor. Donald Trump is an idiot.
Listen,
period.
if you get this book, I know you're not going to read this book.
Dress it up and make him sound like he's some hard-nosed, savvy businessman.
I know you're not going to read this book, but let me tell you, this is where you get this, guys, where you can finally realize what this dude is doing. Okay.
Look, I know what he's doing. I ain't got to.
I know, but you probably won't read this book, but I can give you a little.
It is crystal clear right now what he is doing. He is destroying this country. That's what he's doing.
Okay, fine. If you get this book, then you can better understand what position this cat is taking. He wrote a book, okay, called The Art of the Deal. If you check
he didn't write that book.
Well,
he didn't write it.
It's entitled to him and whatever ideas he got.
He didn't write it.
Okay, so let's say he didn't write it. Let's say he just read it and he applies his principles to that book. Now, if you read that, you say, oh, this is what's happening. This is how this cat is moving.
And that's why he's filed bankruptcy 100 million times. He's been
in trouble with the IRS.
Like, I mean, come on, Meech. Stop trying to dress this dude up like he's some crazy
No,
genius.
I'm not dressing him up, but I got to also stand up for the 20% of black people that voted for this cat.
White man privilege. He is not and should not be president of this country under no circumstances.
Listen, all I'm trying to do is stand up for the 20%.
He has bullied people in business throughout his entire career. He has been discriminatory in his behavior throughout his entire professional career.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Hey, listen, I'm giving you your flowers
to be president.
I'm giving you your flowers, but at the same time, I have questions that you won't answer. Okay, let's say all of that stuff is true. Let's say it's all true. Okay, it's all true. Now, are you a landlord? You've been a landlord, I'm sure.
I'm up against a break, but I'm gonna say
because how many people have you discriminated against by saying I'm not gonna let them rent there?
I'm gonna say this.
As a landlord, we make that decision every day, Dave.
Against race alone.
Okay.
How many?
I got to go up against the break.
Yeah, I know you do.
I appreciate you.
I holler. Because see, don't try to make it sound like I'm being discriminating if I'm looking at your ability to pay. If I think you're gonna be a problematic land tenant based on, a CCAP, quick look at your background, or if I'm worried about, your income. This man was discriminating based on race, period. It didn't matter how much money you had. I just don't understand you, Meech, as a black man who's been yourself into pretzel knots trying to figure out how to get his dude damn covered. I can't make it make sense.
Shell, do you think he's trolling?
Who, Meech?
Yeah.
All possible. And Meech likes a response. He likes to rile out of people. He likes to be controversial. But at some point, some of this is also, to Craig's earlier point, there's a modicum of truth in the way he moves and talks about some of these issues that he believes these things. But you cannot say a man who was found guilty of discriminating against people on the basis solely of race, not inability to pay, not any other factor, is the same thing as a landlord trying to make sure they're getting a good tenant that's going to pay their rent on time and not be a problem. It didn't matter what your background was when Trump was renting to people. All he knew was you was black. He didn't want you in his building, period. You could have been Denzel Washington black money, Oprah Winfrey black money. It didn't matter. I don't want you in my building. Just like he used to say about those casinos. I don't want any black man handling my money. Just like he did when he had The Apprentice and the black dude won The Apprentice. He changed the rules of the game so that the white girl who came in second place also got a company. Because he was so mad that black young man won, he could not live with it. He made a white girl a co-winner as well. Stop it, Meech. I gotta take a break.
Listen, everybody.
Welcome back to Community Voice. Keith Paris, your normal, purveyor of all things information for the community, is not in the building today. I am sitting in for him, Michelle Bryant. A pleasure to do so.
So
yes,
is Keith at a science fair? I thought he was at a science fair. Yeah.
Why would you say a science fair?
I don't know. He just looked like he'll attend a science fair on Wednesday. I don't know. He looked like he had a science fair right now.
Just at a science fair.
I don't know.
Yeah, he is all nerdy. It ain't no telling where Keith at. He's somewhere buying a new spatula.
That cat got so much information.
Somebody said, and the creek won't rise.
Yeah, because that's what I was gonna say when you was closing the show. Like today, I don't think the creek gonna rise today.
All right, y'all. So before I went to the break, I was having a moment with our resident antagonist, Meech. And he was like, you got to read the Art of the Deal. And I'm like, hey, bro, why you think you put me up on game? Let me put you up on game. Trump didn't write the Art of the Deal. It was written by a ghostwriter by the name of Tony Schwartz. Yes, Trump was around. He threw some stuff out there. But the book was written by Tony Schwartz. And if you have seen any interviews that Tony Schwartz has done, he has said that he regrets ever being a part of that project because he made this dude sound way better than he really was. Just like they did on The Apprentice. When that show was created, Donald Trump was damn near broke. And they came in, they said his office space wasn't even decent enough to be able to tape at his real offices. So that boardroom and all of that, elegance and everything, it was created for the TV show because really his company is a mom and pop operation. Him, his family, his little trusted advisor that did jail time for him because they was messing with the books and the way they reported it to the IRS. Like this dude is a 1000%, smoke and mirrors grifter. But he has just enough money to bully around the little people who don't have money. And that becoming president was probably the best thing that ever happened to Trump because you literally are making millions and millions of dollars off both your actual job for those Mar-a-Lago properties because you keep running your butt down there every weekend. You making money off the people that's trying to get proximity to the presidency. You have a crypto dinner. You are participating in a crypto dinner where the meal ticket was $1.5 million to get in the room. So yeah, Meech, please don't. You might learn something, read you something, educate yourself, check it out, bruh. You're going to have to do better than that when you come calling me. I need you to understand what you're referring me to. All right, let me say this real quick, and then I'll get these callers. In relationship to what I was talking about on my show today about the lead situation, there is going to be a press conference held at 2 p.m. over at North Division High School this afternoon on the sidewalk in front of the center entrance over at North Division. The groups that have come together, Lead Safe Schools, MKE, Fresh Water for Life, Action Coalition, otherwise known as FLAC, Get the Lead Out, Metcalf Park Community Bridges. And they are going to be announcing 6 specific demands that they want addressed regarding the lead crisis, targeting MPS, school board, MPS administration, the Milwaukee Health Department, City of Milwaukee, Milwaukee County, Governor Evers, and the state legislature. So just so folks know, they are asking Milwaukee parents, teachers, and community members, they will be gathering to demand concrete action from city and state officials to address the ongoing lead crisis in local schools, citing serious gaps in the recently released lead action plan from MPS and the Milwaukee Health Department. The coalition is calling for immediate improvements in accountability, comprehensive water and soil testing, and swift mitigation efforts. As it stands, the current plan fails to adequately protect students and staff from lead exposure and lacks the transparency and the urgency the issue demands. The only other thing I would say to this group, ask them who's doing this work. Ask them if they actually have teachers being paid overtime or regular MPS support staff being paid overtime to clean these schools. And if you are dealing with lead and cleaning schools, is there anything in particular you need to know? Or are you just giving people some bleach in a mop bucket and saying, have at it? I need answers to that part. Let me go to the phone line, get these callers in. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Thank you for taking my call, Ms. Bryant.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Just listening, I find it really it's laughable when, personally, at least for me, when I hear people who are upset about God or whatever, you know, you know, and saying things that as if that it really matters to God. The scripture says that as a man thinketh, and as a man speaketh, so is he. And I just, no matter even an atheist or agnostic person, when they know that their life is in the balance, they're not going to call on their own knowledge because it will not suffice for them. And as far as burning, I'm sure that if a person contracted a clinical disease or something, they would already be met with fire just for that experience alone. So I wouldn't be so hurried in telling people to burn this and burn that because you might already be burning yourself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. I had no responses today. Let me get the next caller. Thank you, Christopher. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Michelle. Did you breathe? Did you breathe yet?
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Yeah. Don't let as Jermaine said, a troll raise your blood pressure.
Oh no.
And
no.
I think we can refer to him as our resident Confederate. It kind of rhymes.
Resident Confederate.
Because that's the kind of rhetoric he's spewing. And spewing wrong numbers, just like his mentor. The numbers would be 13%, correct?
Yes.
Not 20. Just like gas didn't go down to 198 last week, it's still 319 as an average. So he supports those Confederate lies because as Stephen or any other buck dancer would say,
Did you say Stephen?
So, and that's what you're experiencing when he calls. So Jermaine was right on point when he said, yeah, he is trolling, and it's fun to call right behind him, and I'll continue to do that to just fact check some of the lies. And add some other context. Did you know that these ICE agents are getting $42,000 bonuses in addition to the salaries that they're getting paid to run around the country hunting down American citizens as well?
I did not. I'm looking it up as you speak.
Please.
So kind of like bounty hunters, man?
Yeah, pretty much. Or slave catchers.
Oh, wow.
So this is what they voted for, and they voted for America to have, as Goldman Sachs says, the lowest growth of any economy of all developed nations in the world, and the highest rate of inflation in this worst 100 days of any president ever. And so that's what Black MAGA people like Meech voted for. They voted against their own, and we recognize that, and we will remember that as long as he lives.
All right. Thank you, bro.
God bless y'all.
All right, so and what it looks like I see is that some Republican legislator in the Congress has suggested that they want ICE agents to get $42,000 bonuses. They were talking about the average Christmas bonus is $2,500, and so they're proposing this. So it's not in play right now, from what I'm reading, and these posts are just a couple of days old. But they and let me see if this is it right here, the actual story. Where is it? Okay. Hang on. Okay, so Several agencies across government will receive tens of billions of dollars to hire. Okay. Yeah. So it's a part of the story. I have to look down in it. But yeah, as a part of this package of bills, there is a Republican legislator who is suggesting that ICE agents be given $42,000 bonuses, similar to the way in which Americans get Christmas bonuses. And when they talked about the average American getting a $2,500 Christmas bonus, I sure want to know who. I absolutely want to know who. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Not as well as you, sight unseen.
Yes, sir.
But I'm getting worn out by trying to give some advice or some logic to some certain people, and it's not registering.
Right.
It's you and your boy, Bill. What's his name?
Dr. Rideout. God bless you, Deacon. God bless you.
I'm talking about the other.
It's about me.
Oh, it's about me. Okay, I'm out of it, Doc. I'm out.
Absent today. Absent today. What's his? Keith Parrish.
Oh, Keith. Okay.
I've been teaching over 56 years. And one thing I told my students, especially the ones like the one that took up all the time this morning, just because you say the same thing over and over again and louder does not make it true. And when you're telling somebody something and you can see that it's not getting through, stop straining yourself and wasting our time. I can't get in too many times because a certain person is hawking up all the phone and you're allowing it. And y'all have a good one Dr. Rideout. What's the new dude you got in there now?
Oh, that's Byron.
He's in there, Byron.
Byron,
yes.
I want to tell you something. I've noticed when the people get on this radio and they're new, they develop very fast and very professorially.
Yeah.
And you have a good one.
Yes, sir. Chairman of the board, God bless you.
Somebody said Mr. Ward used to be my reading teacher at Marshall.
Wow.
Well, yeah, he was trying to read me a minute ago. So you allow it. You allow it, Michelle. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Not to change the subject.
Go ahead, change it.
I kind of wanted to, maybe I missed you speaking on this because this is a story about a week or two long, but about the teacher at King.
Yes.
So I know you had mentioned something real important. You said, like, we need to talk to the young men about the older women and whatnot. And I'm thinking the only reason them boys really told on that lady because she was a fat white lady.
But they had but kids had already been messing with her anyway, though. Some of the kids had been messing with her. It was finally one. I think it's like what happens in any other case. You finally walk up on the wrong one, and so one kid told it, and then everybody else had to fess up. But one kid told his.
Because I Googled like different actresses and singers black actresses that's around that age, and I'm thinking like if it was Keke Palmer or Beyonce, like just attractive black woman was coming on to them, I don't think they would have told so fast.
Well, again, they didn't tell fast.
I'm not saying that is right, but I'm saying like as a man myself and being a young man, I know what it is to mess with an older woman when you're young. So I think she was a fat white lady coming on, and it was like, ugh, like.
No, some of them had already look. Thank you for the call and changing the subject. But some of the kids had already got caught up because she was dropping bread. They had taken it. It was eventually she ran up on the wrong kid. And he was repulsed or appalled or I'm a child, lady, what are you doing? And ends up talk to his mom and tell him what happens. But it was some of them boys had already like fleeced her. They had already got their money, and was in her pocket and was letting her pay for stuff. So nah, they didn't care about what she looked like. I'm broke, and you talking about you got $300 for me, $400 for me, man, please. I might take it, as a young kid. So nah, she just ran up on the wrong one. Because it had been going on for a while. They didn't tell. Nobody told. And they definitely didn't tell right away. It had been going on for a while before this other mother gets wind of it, because her child ends up like, nah, you out of order, lady. you, no, sir. You look crazy, and you good and grown. You 14. I could see if it was a teacher close to my age, like she only 22, but she looked super young. This lady looked good, old and grown. So yeah, I talked about it though. And we'll see. We'll continue to see what has and will transpire. Let me do this since I was on Trump before I get up out of here. I took great joy. I took great joy. So Donald Trump, when he was on one of the Sunday morning shows, Meet the Press, I think, whatever. First of all, he was rude to the woman who was interviewing him. He kind of he just was rude. He was Donald Trump. But he went on to talk about Jasmine Crockett. He said something about that the future of the Democratic Party is in trouble. And I heard they have this new person. Let me see if I can find his exact comments. But I heard they have this new person, and she's low IQ. He loved calling people dumb, calling people stupid. Got the vocabulary of a 6-month-old, but he loved calling somebody else low IQ and dumb. Tear up sentences like subject verb agreement, prepositional phrases. I mean, like all of it is just hideous what he does to the English language. But he loves it, and particularly women, and particularly women and particularly people of color. He loves to use low IQ. And so in relationship to Jasmine Crockett, he said, talking about the Democrats, they have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. So Jasmine Crockett actually shot back in real time. She posted on fake Twitter, imagine being busy getting another honorary doctorate and delivering the commencement address to encourage and empower the leaders of today. And right before boarding your flight to depart, learning that the diabolical, delusional, demented, dumb Don was busy trying to challenge your IQ. And, later she does another thing where she talks about Donald Trump clearly being fearful of strong Black women. Like that's a thing for him. It's a problem for him. Until people start handling this dude like he should be handled. Because to continue to get shrouded in, it's the office of the presidency. When you got this man that's trifling and of trifling character sitting in the room, you're not going to be able to keep handling him like he's the president. You're going to have to handle him like the trifling individual that he is. And more importantly, handle the trifling members of Congress who are allowing a lot of this to take place. Because they could rein this in. But instead, they introduce a piece of legislation that would allow no judge to stop a executive order that Donald Trump puts out, effectively allowing this man to reign unchecked. That's not how our government was designed. 3, co-equal branches of government. And what Republicans in Congress are allowing and suggesting is also trifling. So when people want to be trifling, we have to hold them accountable. We have to call them out, and we have to stop it. Thank you to my colleagues in the building who held me down for 4 hours. Mr. Ride Out, aka Streetcar.
Zoom, zoom.
To the brother in the purple polo, Byron. Thank you. And Mr. Paris. Hopefully you'll be able to tell us about some cool experiments from the science fair.
Volcano. Eruption, baking soda. I paid attention somewhere.
Dude, give them something more advanced than that. Robotics, something, aerospace. Give them something. But family, to the listeners that held over, hung out with me, kept me company, was hitting me up on Facebook saying, I'm in, I'm still here, I'm checked in. I appreciate y'all this morning. Talk to y'all tomorrow.